Ooh, what's going on, people all around the world, wherever you are, whatever you're doing? We hope you're having a fantastic time. It's MM Talks back at it again, baby. Like we never left, never rest, never stressed. How we doing, crew?
I'm wonderful. I'm fantastic. But I'm not as cool as Fabian though, because he looks fly as hell.
Ah, listen to these lot. Listen to them. Listen, we know how it is. Like once I come around here, it's like I step into a whole different kind of energy, and I feel, yeah, exactly. That's what you lot give me. You give me a whole new life when I come and meet you two. So you know how it goes.
No, I love
how
that.
my brothers.
Good week.
Yeah, good week. Not a bad week at all.
Yep.
You know, still waiting on this delivery. So we're still waiting on that. But otherwise, work's been okay. Still slow progress, but there's progress.
Nice, very nice. Ethan, how's your week been?
Life's good, man. Life's good.
Yeah,
Everything's going swimmingly.
Yep.
There's a lot to look forward to, and there's a lot more to come. What are we talking about today?
Oh, you know what? We've got some interesting topics.
Mm-hmm.
The first one and the main topic of the day is what journeys have we been on that have created growth? Because we've all been through a lot, and we talk about it a lot. But I would like us to deep dive a little bit into what those journeys look like and how they have affected us. Then we're going to talk about what our favourite city in the world is. We speak a lot about travel. We like travelling here on MM Talks. We like the idea of going out there, discovering something else, which I think is cool. And then finally, for Fabian's 5 minutes of food, we're going to discuss fast food. We don't do it very often, but we're going to discuss fast food. For
We don't do
there.
it very often.
What do you do it very often?
I'm joking. I ain't finding
Well, we did. You know what? We used to get fast food every episode, right?
Exactly,
After every
exactly.
recording, we would order food. So maybe some of those favorites that we used to order is going to make a surprise.
Yeah.
A surprise appearance. But first of all, we're going to talk about journeys and what journeys we've been on. And I'll start. So I give some time to add context and to add an understanding, right? And the first thing I want to talk about, interestingly enough, is flexibility. I have never been one, and I'm talking about physical flexibility, I've never been one to really appreciate how much stretching and different forms of dynamic movement can really change the way I live and breathe and move on a daily basis, right? I used to just think stretching was cool, you do it before and after a training session, whether you're in the gym or you're on the field playing your sport. I used to think stretching was basic and boring. You know, and I used to be super flexible because when you're a teenager, you got all kinds of range of movement that you don't have as you grow up, right? And so flexibility was the thing that I took for granted. And as you grow older, as you get heavier, as you get stiffer, movements that used to be really normal start to feel a little bit less normal. Like when I was in the gym a few weeks ago, I was squatting and I wasn't getting the same level of depth as I used to get. Yeah. And I like to go as low as possible. I like to do a proper squat. None of this 90-degree nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And so, I would still do it, but it would feel a lot more difficult to do. And I was like, why is that happening? What's going on here? I've always been able to just do it. So I had to start looking at how I treat my body on a daily basis. And I think it's something that me and Ethan have spoken about a little bit in really putting stretching as a part of a daily routine. Yeah. And once I got stretching back into my life, once I started to stretch, there are days where I stretch 5 times a day now. There are days where, I'll wake up and I'll do 15 minutes. I'll do a stretch before I work out. I'll do a stretch after I work out. I'll do one more in the evening. I'll do one just before I get to bed, right? And now I'm noticing that the movements that I want to do, whether I'm doing Olympic lifting, whether I'm squatting, any movement is feeling so much more fluid again. And it's changing the way I feel when I wake up, which is fantastic. I'm waking up and my hips aren't immediately stiff. I'm 26. I should be able to get up and move around normally. So for me, it's made a really, really a big difference. What do you guys think?
Yeah, sorry, I just had something on my mind there. I was literally zoned up for 2 seconds. But
well, you love stretching as well, I know that.
Well, I was going to get to that. So I trained legs last night in the gym, and it's been the first time I actually squatted for this year. And
hold on. It's the first time you squatted this year?
Did I say it's the first time I trained legs this year? Or the first time I squatted this year?
Okay.
Alright, cool.
I squat like 3 times a week, 3 times a week.
Yeah, and I also lunge a lot.
We're different. We do different stuff, which is funny.
Yeah.
I'm not atting you. I'm just saying that.
He at me, people. He at me.
Do your own race.
Yeah, me. It's your own race. Yeah, it's your own race. It's not like I did 3 sets of 10 on 140 kg yesterday.
No, I'm not atting you.
He's at me. He's trying to at me. But anyway, so so I squatted for the first time this year. Bearing in mind we're only 20-something days into the year. You know what I mean? We're only like 3 weeks into the year. He's at me, but we'll move past that. So
took 27 days to squat. Okay.
Yeah. So what's your bench?
Hold on. This is a whole different conversation.
Let's talk to us about
Yeah. So let's get back to what we're talking about. Yeah. So what I'm trying to get is that obviously I've been focusing. Yeah, I'm focused a bit more on my actual bench press a lot for the last couple of weeks as well, and I've not stretched out my chest or like my shoulders. Where my shoulders have been very weak, I've been trying to strengthen up my shoulders. So now because I'm strengthening them up, they're getting a lot tighter. But bearing in mind, when your upper body gets tight along the chest and along your shoulders, when it comes to actually holding the bar when you're squatting, you don't have that flexibility to bring your arm up like that.
It's true.
And what I found very difficult when I first started was to get my arms into position to be able to hold the bar, because it started to feel like, oh, this is not as comfortable as it used to be. And again, stretching helps that. So I like to do a lot of band work before a workout, just to really get the joints working, or get the rotator cuff open as well. Trying to get that kind of stretched out before I bench, because they're the kind of things that always tend to play up. And it's the things we actually forget about. And what I've started to notice, all these little like movements and little lifts that you do in the gym help with the bigger lifts.
Oh, 100%.
Like,
supportive.
Doing your bridges, doing my hip thrusts, they're helping a lot more with my deadlifts, my squats, getting those kind of movements going. Actually warming up the rotator cuff, working on my shoulders is helping my bench grow. And I think a lot of us forget about these little things when it comes to mobility and strength in the gym.
100%.
And all those accessory exercises that you've been talking about are amazing. I was teaching myself, last week I gave blood, so I didn't want to go heavy in the gym with lifting because I didn't want to risk anything.
Shout out, you give blood.
Give blood if you can, people.
I encourage anyone. It was a really quick, easy experience. All the staff were really lovely, and you get a snack at the end to make sure your blood sugar levels.
Little sweet treat.
I was mentioning some popcorn.
You know,
I like my popcorn.
Crazy, I thought you were the only snack in there.
And I was learning to front squat, and you were talking about flexibility of the arms.
Yeah.
I didn't realise how poor my forearm and like elbow flexibility was until I was trying to hold the bar up with my arms parallel to the floor. Now I would encourage everyone at home just to try and put the top tips of your fingers onto your shoulders. If you struggle with that, you're in the same boat as me. And you should try some front squats. They're a great exercise. I was stretching today at my desk because I feel really stiff. Let me do some stretches, and you instantly feel better. Your posture is better, and because your posture is better, you sit more upright. You feel more confident. Stretching is incredibly important.
And the thing for me is it's something I took for granted. And as I've grown up, I've had to change the way I live. And this is one of those things about changing the way we live to adapt to life. I think even if I wasn't in the gym, I would have started to notice these things. Hip flexors get tight, and we've spoken about this before. When you're constantly sitting down, things like that naturally tighten up, right? So I've set myself a procedure to set this habit, to change my life in this way. And what I do is I attach stretching to other things. I'm not saying I don't enjoy stretching. I'm just really starting to enjoy it. But at first, I needed to attach it to other things to make it more enjoyable, to make it something that sat and lasted within me for longer and makes me want to do it more. And so those things are, in the evening, I've got an Audible subscription, so I listen to ebooks. And one of the books that I'm currently listening to is Don Quixote, which is like apparently one of the classics, one of the greatest books of all time.
It's one of the highest books, most selling books of all time.
Exactly. Books. Yeah, it's sold hundreds of millions. It was written in the 1600s, which is mad because it's also one of the longest books ever written as well. So that's crazy. So at night, when I stretch at night, I listen to Don Quixote, and so that's my routine. Then in the morning, what I do is I put on some white noise. So it's usually some bird song or some waves or something like that. So those two things are things that I really enjoy, and they help me be in my mind, in a safe space in my mind. So I'm stretching while I'm doing that, so I'm attaching it to it. Then when I'm in the gym, I make sure I stretch before and after, because that helps me get into the zone and then get out of the zone. So I use stretching as a way of getting into, if I'm about to, Olympic lift, I need some explosive music to make sure that I'm feeling explosive.
Of course.
If I'm about to try and go for a PB on the bench or on the squat, I need to listen to some empowering music to get me going, and I use the stretch time as that. I'm like, I have to stretch because I have to listen to songs or something to get me into the zone. So I'm attaching something that I know I need to do and something that I enjoy to stretching, and it makes it, one, so much easier to do, but two, it makes it much more consistent. It's become a consistent process for me. So that's how I've started, and that's the journey I've gone on. But before we move on to you guys' journey,
before we go on, I was gonna say one thing I say with stretching, that people, like you said, people don't know that a whole stretch can actually be a workout, like yoga and stuff. And when in a perfect, I'll say a perfect world, a more ideal world for me, when I go and stretch, I could easily stretch for 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah.
Because once you start holding stretches for over 30 seconds, you start to really get into the stretch. It starts to really actually affect the muscle. So you start to actually make a difference in the muscle to actually give it that kind of elasticity, should I say, into it.
We love Brazil.
Yeah.
So, exactly what you were saying. That yoga, there's a type of yoga called Yin Yoga. One of my boys, shout out to David, sent me like a pack of these stretches online, like through Exchange. And Yin Yoga is it's not like normal yoga, but you hold positions for 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
What?
And oh my god, after the first 2 exercises, I was like, I don't know if I want to continue this. It was 45 minutes of excruciating pain, but then I felt incredibly loose, like afterwards. I felt really good. And I know like 2 or 3 more times after that, I was really starting to see the difference. It's incredible.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and that's what I mean, like, you don't actually know how tight your body is until you start doing these stretches regularly. And then that's when people start to ask you, like, you're getting taller or something. It's like, because you're just
out your back.
Yeah, you're straightening out your back. You're actually releasing all of this tightness that you've had where it's your back, your hips, so everything's drawing you over. And like, people should stretch more. Definitely stretch more.
100% stretch more, guys, and give blood. Don't let that message be lost in there as well. So moving on to our favourite fast food. After talking about stretching, I was talking about taking care of the body. Let's go to Fabian's 5 minutes of
garbage time. I mean, that has to be garbage. That's a lie. It doesn't have to be garbage. Fast food is not always
exactly.
garbage.
Fast food it's a staple of the world that we live in as a three, definitely. We're surrounded by it, and sometimes it's a fantastic thing. If you have, we watch American football, late Sunday games, it's, ain't nobody trying to cook, we're all trying to enjoy the games, let's just order some food. If you've just recorded a podcast and you're feeling a bit tired, let's order some food. It can be a great way to stay somewhat nourished and have enjoyable food. So guys, what are your favourite fast foods?
And I think, what I'm going to say with this one as well, because I think some people, I'm going to rephrase it, because fast food doesn't have to mean takeaway.
Okay.
But why I say that, because fast food, you could come home and cook something within 5 minutes.
We ain't talking about that. We're going to say that for another day. We'll say 5-minute meals for another day, because I think that's where you can really shine. I want to give that the right time for it.
Alright, cool. We'll go. Alright, but okay. I mean, take it. You take it, bro. Take it.
So, one of my favourite things to order with you guys is burgers.
Yeah.
And we've tried a few different places. I think we started out with Byron, which is a really good burger, and then unfortunately it closed down. They also had a fire milkshake.
Yeah, that milkshake was fire. Oh, why did you bring that back? Oh my god, that milkshake was actually fire. Even the vegan one. Oh.
It really was.
Fire. Shout out Byron.
Yeah, shout out Byron. And another quick honourable mention is down the road from where I live, there's a spot called Jerk Garden, which is my favourite Caribbean food.
What with the Jerk Garden?
Near in Crofton Park.
Yeah.
Go check it out if you're in South East London.
One in Sydenham too.
Always good. Yeah, and one in Sydenham too.
Yeah.
They've got places.
Yeah.
But this place, it wins for me on 2 fronts. The burgers are incredible. They're like smashed burgers, which are kind of like flattened patties. They do incredible cheese, great sauce. I've had a little bit of barbecue for my own preference, and good fries. But the thing that really sold it for me is I have an egg allergy, and most places on delivery I have to call them up beforehand and kind of get them to run through. Yeah. So called the number and I met this guy. I cannot remember his name for the life of me, but he was absolutely just lovely on the phone. He was like, I'm going to call the restaurant, I'll sort everything out. They even wrote like a note. They separated it from the rest of the food that was that was in the order, and they were just so attentive that the next time they knew, I called up again, they knew exactly who it was. They remembered me by name. They asked me how I was doing, and again, they're from Lewisham. They're based in Lewisham, which is always a place I'm going to shout out. So shout out to Bang Bang. There's also one in Bermondsey, so check them out.
Bang Bang Burger, let's go.
Yeah, they were fucking absolutely incredible. Yeah, absolutely incredible. Yeah, and I've called them before for Ethan, and they were like, "Oh yeah, is this for Ethan?" I was like, "Yeah, it is." So absolutely amazing.
He's famous at Bang Bang Burger. I see you, bro.
Yeah, he's a superstar. He's just shining like he really does.
The egg boy.
So one for me is one that we've also used here before, and I think it goes far and wide. And this is the Athenian, which is, if you can't tell, Greek food.
Oh yeah, you do love that one. Yeah.
The gyros they do, the souvlaki, it's incredible. And usually they're fairly quick. And healthy-ish. So
it feels healthy.
It feels healthy, you know. So I would say the Athenian was fantastic. We haven't had it in a very, very long time. Did they close down as well?
The London Bridge one closed down, but the Victoria one's still open.
If you live in and around the areas of London, in the Victoria area, the Athenian, hit it up. Or if there's any like local Greek places to you, get them as well. Yeah. It's always a win. It's always a
Greek food. Greek food is
it's so good. I just want to go back to Athens just so I can have that food. It was just fantastic. Fabian, take it away.
I mean, you know what? Like, we've ordered some crazy food, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I've tried so many different things with you guys, but I gotta go back to just one of my guilty pleasures. And I think me going back and doing my flat, which we'll talk about probably after this, it's gonna have to be just my local chip shop chips.
Ooh.
I just like, I know, like, you know, when like my favorite fast food, when like guilty pleasure, like I just wanted something bit greasy, nice, hot and simple. It's got to be just the chip shop chips with loads of salt and vinegar on it, and I'm getting into the whole pickle now.
Ooh.
Yeah, like
pickle.
Yeah, I'm getting into the whole having a pickle.
Crazy.
Yeah, like before I wasn't really into it, but I blame the NFL for that because, you know, when they got the pickle juice there and everyone was drinking the pickle juice.
Yeah, they really do need the pickle juice.
And then obviously in the burgers you get like few slices of Burger King.
Pickles in the
Cramp.
Oh, because it helps you. It helps.
It's supposed to stop cramp.
Add water to your muscles.
Yeah, I can't remember the scientific agreement.
Yeah.
It's like, but it's supposed to be really healthy.
Lucozade when you got pickle juice.
Right, exactly. So yeah, so I tend to get that. I get a nice portion of chips, a pickle, and then that's me.
Nice.
And
Pickles in a burger are great as well. I think they're underrated. Yeah. Oh, look, Stephen doesn't like it. Even doesn't like the flavours in the pickle. And that's fair.
But he eats anchovies. That's weird.
He does eat anchovies. That's true. I don't do that. But that's okay. We're not attacking Ethan today. It's all loved on today's episode.
Yeah.
And Fabian, you spoke for a second there about your flat, doing your flat.
Yeah.
And how that connected you to this. So could you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so the journeys, you speak so much of journeys, and you kind of spoke about gyms. I'm not going to speak about gym, and obviously we know the flat, my journey, but I'll speak about the first part of like my flat.
Yep.
You know, me coming out of your Her Majesty's establishment, coming back and first actually.
You have a way with words. You have a very good way with words, and I appreciate it so much.
So yeah, me coming out of there and coming back to my flat being rented out, and for once in my life saying my life's in my hands.
Yes.
Because from the age of 16, I had to find my own way. So it wasn't a case of someone else paid my rent, someone else paid my mortgage. I had to pay it all this time.
Yeah.
And at the age of 24, I got a brief moment where I could actually say, what I want to do now.
Yes.
Because I had income coming from my flat, so I could use that to survive, even without a job. So we did that for a little bit, and it was fine. That part of the story is absolutely fine. Then it got to the part when I wanted to have my flat back.
Yes. And
the current tenants didn't want to move out.
They weren't fans of that idea, huh?
No, they wasn't the fans of that whole idea. Yeah. And I got a call one day at work from the local council saying there's been a fire at my flat. Obviously, if you've watched the TikToks, if you watched on our Instagram, you've seen videos of how I got my flat back. And it completely was torched. So we had to redo it. And I had to start that journey. Now, through that journey, like, there's parts I not actually spoke about, which came more to like recently, is where through that journey I didn't do nothing. I found someone that was going to do a lot of the work for me. I got a bit of funding in, gave them some of that funding. They ended up disappearing with that funding.
Boy.
So that was one setback. But coming to last year, we got quite a lot of work done. We're speeding up now this process after all the downfalls to it. And we started gutting out the place, replastering, rewiring, and now I'm at the point where we're just putting the central heating in. So it's great. I've ordered a new bathroom, and it's a whole journey, as you say. Yeah, it's like it didn't have anything at first, and now we have everything. So it's again slowly making. I think the whole thing, now as I've grown, is to say like, this is mine. I can make it how I like it. I can make it how I want this. And I think now I'm taking that bit more time to actually make it that, and then continue to move on.
So what you're saying is, you came in, you put the Infinity Gauntlet on, and you said, "Fine, I'll do it myself." And you're doing it right.
Yeah, really, just listening to that. You know, you had so many setbacks, And the last time I saw it, and every time I see it, I'm like, this just looks like a mess.
Yeah.
But when you look at it, you see so much potential. You know, we sat here just before the podcast and spoke about all the things that you want to do with that space.
Yeah.
And that is inspirational in itself. Because when I see it, it still looks like a shell.
Yeah,
but every time I do see it, it looks better than it once looked.
Yeah.
So you're building, even when most people would look at it and be like, oh, it's a lost cause.
Yeah.
You've had setbacks, which aren't even to do with the actual physical space, it's to do with other people who should be helping the space. You've had those. And every time you do it, you're like, what job's got to be done?
So one thing I'll say is like, so I've been in construction for now about 3 years, I'd say. And I've never started a job from the beginning. Like I started doing a bit of landscaping work. I've gone on to do some residential work, but the job I'm on now was my first job I started right at the beginning. Yeah. And I think that's what kind of helped me to see where I can go with my flat.
Yeah.
Like I've gone into complete empty rooms where there's nothing but 4 walls.
Yeah. No
pipe work, no water running, no electric. To now there's 14 showers, 4 toilets, windows, freaking TV screens, everything. And I'm just like, if this is possible, why can I not do this in my own space?
You're going to put 14 showers in that space.
I mean, not that, but yeah, you get my drift.
14 showers?
Yeah, so it's like, the fact that I've seen a building go from nothing to a complete 7-story office block, and I'm like, this is what happens every day out here. Yeah. But the average person will never know this is what we do. Yeah. And it's like, you being able to see it at this stage and see like, okay, this is where it is. And like you said, constantly seeing that progress. It's the whole point when I say like, wait till the loft's done. Yeah. Wait till the garden's done. Yeah. Because that whole thing, do you remember what it looked like 2 years ago? Do you remember what it looked like 3 years ago? Now look at this place.
Yeah. Believing in that vision and then actualizing it step by step. And I cannot wait for you to reap the rewards of that place.
Like I said to Jed earlier, I said that it's that whole journey and process. It's like people need to understand. It's like, go through it. Like it's so tough at the beginning. Like I said to you, like my flat was burned out to the point where the windows were blown out. Yeah. Like I was sitting in my cousin's car. We pulled up to my flat and I didn't want to get out of the car. No. Because I thought I didn't have no house. Now I've got new windows. Yeah. That's far gone. Yeah. You know, like all of that's completely gone past me now. And it's like I said, the process is so hard to get to where you want to be, but people don't understand that you just have to put that work in and do believe in it and you need people around you that believe in your process, otherwise it will just never work.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Thank you for sharing that, because that's such an emotional experience to go through, and you meet it with confidence, with resilience, and with bravery. You're like, I'm going to make it, and I'm going to do something that, you know, I'm not sure I can do, but I'm going to learn to do it. Yeah. It's incredible.
I'll just say, shout out my boss, man. He showed me that anything's possible. I'm not going to lie.
Shout out. What's your boss's name?
Darius.
Shout out Darius.
I know you watch it now and then.
Hey! Shout out Darius when I watch it.
Yeah. Big up you, man.
Well, thank you so much for sharing. We're going to move on to now the third question of the day before we finish off with Ethan's journey. And that is, if you guys can remember, what is your favourite city? You're not allowed to say London. That's the one caveat. You're not allowed to say London.
Alright, and you're not allowed to say something you've already said on the podcast.
Well, I can't remember everything I've ever said on this podcast.
Alright, so I'm going to help you. You can't say San Francisco.
Okay, that's no problem.
No, it was San Francisco.
Yeah, you said it now. I'm not allowed to say San Francisco.
So you can't say that. I can't remember the one you said. Oh.
You're not allowed to say San Francisco either, Ethan.
Oh, man.
Was it San Francisco?
I don't think so. I've never experienced San Francisco like that, but I'll take it.
No, where is it?
Ooh, Ethan
I'll say my favourite city.
Before Fabian cuts you off.
You know what? I'll say, if this is something I've said again...
Not Canada either.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
That's a whole country.
Adelaide, Toronto, whatever.
Damn, Winnipeg. Sorry.
Yeah. If I've said it before, you can call me out right now and I'll switch it in a heartbeat.
That's good.
I'm excluding myself from answering any other cities in the UK. I'll give Manchester an honourable mention. I lived there for 4 years.
Love Manchester.
Because I wanted to talk about somewhere I've visited, but I've not lived there. So my bias for Manchester is very strong. Yeah. I'm going to talk about Barcelona.
Ooh.
Yeah, you said that.
City.
No, I'm joking.
What is it? I'll talk about. So I'm clear?
Yeah?
I'm clear?
Yeah, you're clear.
I went to Barcelona with my dad when I was 20. And we were there for 3 days. And what I did when I was planning it, I just want to walk everywhere and get a feel for what Barcelona is like. I want to go to the big parks. I want to go to castles. I want to see everything that was done by Gaudi, who's a massive, massive designer, architect within the city. There's a museum named after him, and I love the things that Gaudi has produced with his mind that have a clearly long-lasting impact on Barcelona. You can stumble upon Gaudi turning on any single street.
Yeah.
Barcelona is a wonderful city because it's based by the beach, so you can literally walk to the beach and have a beach holiday there if you really wanted to. It's got the old, like the Gothic quarter, which is more kind of like markety. You've got Las Ramblas, which is a very famous stretch close to La Sagrada Familia, which in 2-3 years time maybe will be finished.
It will be finished.
Barcelona is incredibly diverse in terms of people,
yes,
as well as just beautiful food. You've got the coastal food, you've got the more kind of traditional food like the paella, and ceviche. There's just a beautiful kind of combinations of culture that is produced by Barcelona. You've got one of the best football clubs in the world, and you've got the passion of the people associated with the region and with the football. Yep. I had just a consistently good time in Barcelona. How can you hate somewhere that's almost constantly warm?
Yes.
And the people are equally warm and kind. So shout out to Barcelona.
Yeah, I think that's a great shout. And you're talking about Gaudi. Yeah. It feels like Gaudi's signature is left all over the city. Yeah. One of the greatest artists of all time, and you see the city breathe with that level of design. It's fantastic. You like to see. I like beautiful cities, and Barcelona is definitely one of them.
And Barcelona actually has a really cool system of like bike lanes, which looks smooth. So I really want to take a longboard there and just skate.
Next longboarding trip, watch out. Fabian.
The camera.
That's a good idea. We're gonna jump.
Yeah. I was hoping you'd do one of your nice smooth transitions into me, so then I could be like, and then you cut. No, well, we cool. We just keep going.
I could transition.
I mean, we're fine.
I can do it right now.
It shouldn't be too much of a hard edit there. That's why kind of when you said that Fabian, I thought.
I got it. Yeah. Well, you've just been speaking about a work of art of a city. Here is a work of art of a man to talk about his favourite city. Fabian, go for it.
Listen to this guy. So my city, you know, there's so many. And again, I'm trying to say something I haven't said before.
Yeah.
So it's hard. But you know.
Los Angeles.
Yeah. See, I was about to say them as well.
That's
literally how crazy it was. I literally was about to say them. Like I had Rio. So I spoke about Rio. Spoke about LA. Spoke about Sydney. But you know what I'm going to speak about somewhere? I'm going to speak about Jamaica.
Ooh.
I know we said a city, so I'm going to speak about...
Disrespect the whole country of Jamaica now.
I'm not now. I'm going to say my motherland in Jamaica, and that's Clarendon.
Ooh.
That's where my grandparents are from and live.
Okay.
And for those who don't know, what is Clarendon? Is it a region?
So Clarendon is what we call bushland.
Okay.
Yeah, so the bushland, for the people that don't know what bushland means basically the outback, or you'd say the countryside or so.
Okay, cool.
So it's not the main city.
Yeah.
And I was there when I was maybe about 6 or young, very young. And my great grandfather, rest his soul, passed away a couple of years back, and he took me out into what you call the bush.
Yeah.
So the bush is when, like, you see in the films when they're cutting the cutlass to walk through.
Yeah.
And he knows where he's going. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm following because I'm just thinking, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, we're just in Greenland right now.
Yeah.
And all I remember is we're cutting away through the bushes, and he turned the corner, and it was just this big open space.
Okay.
Not one building in sight.
Ooh.
And it's literally a scene from a movie, middle of a jungle.
Nice.
And all I saw was this one cow in like a fence place.
No.
And I was just like, how is it possible that there's just a cow here? Like literally just a cow here. And I'm thinking, you think like, doesn't something try to come and eat it, or like what, And it's just like, so we went there. He said, come, we got to fix up the fence because where the cow tried to get out and stuff. So we were fixing up the fence a little bit, and it was just a mad experience for me to see like this is where like my family started.
Yeah.
This is where my family grew up, and like. It's the difference of like things and the way they live out there is completely different. Like I remember watching my granddad cook the dog's food.
Wow.
So it's not even like it's tinned dog food. It would be like chopped up bits of meat that they don't eat, vegetables, whatever. And they have this little shack, and I mean this massive, massive pot because he's feeding about, say, 15 dogs.
Yeah.
And the pot will be sitting there, slowly simmering away, cooking, and then he'll just turn it off. And they said, we've got to leave it for a little bit, let it cool down.
Yeah.
And then I remember seeing him drag this big old bit of steel out into the middle of like the garden. And I helped him carry the pot out. No dog doesn't touch it till it's down. And once it's down, the dogs come out of everywhere and start eating. And I remember seeing that sign. I thought, this is just insane.
Yeah.
Seeing how they live. And I plan to go back. So that's the reason I bring this up, is because my nan's flying out a couple of days' time, and she's going for 5 months. And one of my goals is to try to get out there while she's out there, because I'm trying to spend more time with family.
Yeah.
And you don't know how much you miss them till they're gone.
Yeah.
And I know how much it would mean to my nan for me to be in Jamaica with her.
Yeah.
So to be with my nan and my great grandmother, who's still out there, I think would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
And to go see how this all unrolls.
That would be really cool. I mean, the fact that you said you were last there when you were 6.
Yeah.
You've gone from being a child to being a full-grown man.
Yeah.
You can go and experience that world
Completely differently.
completely differently. And like you said, did you say it was your uncle?
My
with the fence?
great grandfather.
Wow, I've heard that wrong. Your great grandfather working on the fence. You can now go and work on the fence, and you'll be like, well, I know some stuff. I got some tips from my life, and that's really cool. That's really, really cool.
And just like one of my childhood memories of going there as a kid, I remember my great grandmother. So remember, like I said, this is the bush, right? Well, this is the outback. This is not like supermarkets down the road. It's not one of those. Yeah. And I remember waking up one morning, and my grandmother goes to me, "Do you want some orange juice?" I was like, "You know what? That'd be really nice."
Yeah.
What does she do? She pulls out 3 oranges and the juicer and say, "Well, get juicing." And I was just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
But again, because as a kid, I'm like, "This is cool. Like, I'm gonna make some orange juice." You know, because I guess as a kid, you always think, "Oh, you just go to the shop and buy it." Yeah. And so when you're seeing like you can actually make this orange juice, it's completely different. So yeah, that was cool.
It gives you a whole new level of appreciation for something, right?
Yeah. If you really want something, go get it.
Yeah, exactly.
Go make
That's
it
it.
happen.
Yeah, it happens from young.
That's really cool. You know, I wish I had a story like that. I wish I had a story like that. Just like Ethan, I want to give Manchester a shout out, an honourable mention, but it doesn't count.
Shout out Manchester.
Shout out Manchester. I think we've all had fantastic experiences there. I lived there for not as long as Ethan, but I lived there for 10 months. And it was one of the greatest experiences of my life. I love it. It's a tiny city, really. It feels like a tiny city compared to London. It was absolutely small, but I did live in the centre, so that gave me a bit of a better understanding of it.
When you live in London, your perspective becomes so warped.
Yes.
Because by normal standards, Manchester's reasonably sized city.
Yeah, it's not small at all.
But then London is such a huge mega city that it's just like, well, what is big, what is small?
Exactly. Yeah. So massive shout out to Manchester. And I've been thinking about this one a lot, and I've been thinking about what Fabian said about I'm not allowed to say certain ones, and I'm really trying to rack my brain. And so I'm gonna say it. I'm not gonna say New Orleans. I'm not gonna say Toronto. I'm not gonna say New York. I'm gonna say Portland.
Okay.
Because I've not really spoken about Portland before, and Portland is an incredible city. It's the home setting, I think, of To All the Boys I've Loved Before, which is a rom-com on Netflix.
Surprised you didn't say somewhere in Sweden.
So Stockholm is a great city. Stockholm is a fantastic city. Shout out to Stockholm, but it's not as good as Portland for me. Okay. Portland is a much better city. Portland has a massive river, and that reminds me a lot of London. That reminds me so much of London. So that's really cool. It has loads of bridges that are really, really cool as well. And one of the things that I really enjoy about Portland is it's right next to the Nike.
I literally was about to say that. Yeah. Nike headquarters.
It's right next to the Nike global headquarters. Yeah. And what Nike did, I can't remember when. I think it was in the 2000s. They gave the city of Portland like 250 bikes.
Wow, crazy.
And they're not like the Boris bikes or any other kind of scooter or anything where you have to get them out or whatever. You will just find bikes all over the place. These orange bikes with like Nike logos and swooshes on them, and you just pick it up and ride it. You don't have to lock it. You don't have to do anything. They're just all over the place, and they have a service where they go and collect them and just drop them about. So you can constantly, within 5 to 5 minutes, find a bike and just ride around. Another thing that I really enjoy about it is it's a grid system, and I'm kind of bored of grid systems, if I'm honest. Whenever I go to a city with a grid system, it feels a bit boring.
Yeah, but it makes it so less manic, like London.
Yeah, you can find stuff, there's just $2 that way. Yeah, cool. Yeah. And I get that. But it is quite a wide city. Yeah. The spaces are a lot more open up. When you're in New York, that grid city feel feels a little bit packed.
Yeah, I know what you
the
mean.
buildings are so high and the roads,
yeah.
and it almost feels like the sidewalks are a little bit too thin. Whereas in Portland, it's a much vaster and open space. And whenever you look out into the distance, you see mountains, you see forests, you see lakes. And so that's one of the reasons why I love Portland so much. And also, it's right next to Nike Global Headquarters, which I have a really fond connection to. So, beautiful open space, very green, very clean air, very different quality of air coming from London. Just an absolutely wonderful space.
Nice.
And speaking about wonderful spaces, Ethan, if we can get into that mind of yours, which is also a wonderful space, and you can let us know about your journey. What has given you growth?
It's really funny in what you said.
Yeah.
And talking about stretching, talking about being in the gym, because I was going to speak about it in the gym. I was going to first of all speak about work and then university and stuff like that. But we've gone through university.
Yeah.
So I was trying to think beyond that. What has kept me going through that? In my final year of university, I used to participate in loads of activities and societies and stuff like that. I used to be part of hockey and American football. And then they all stopped because I really want to get my head down and study.
Yeah.
And then I started missing sports, regular activities. I picked up some five-a-side, but that was again sporadic. So I needed something to get me going through the week. And I fortunately had a friend that worked at Virgin Gyms. Shout out to Jake. And he had a +1, so you can bring someone. So I had a Virgin card. The closest Virgin, however, was about 45 minutes to an hour away. So I'd get up at, it would be 5:45, 5:30, take a bus to Old Trafford, so right by Old Trafford, and then walk to this Virgin gym, work out for an hour, and then go and do my experiments all day long. And that really... it started my appreciation for the gym and being in a space. This was before I had any confidence to do free weights or anything like that. I had no one to train me. I was like, I'm just in here doing something. And I tried lots of different things, and it gave me a chance to experiment. Fortunately, I was pre-pandemic, so it was kind of easier to get a job when I was applying. I shot off loads of CVs and started working in London. And I was like, I need to find a gym because I need to continue what I've been doing now. I also, at the time, weighed something like 67 kilograms. And for a person who's 6 foot, that's not... I was not an unhealthy weight, but I was towards the lower end, and I wanted to put on some weight, to put on a little bit of size, a little bit for the ego, but also to kind of create that functional fitness, upper body strength. I'm trying to be like you, man. That's the way you guys have been doing for years.
You see, Fabian, this man is an adult.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I realised if I'm going to do this, I need to create structure, and that structure could then be imprinted onto everything else that I do. By starting this routine, I'd wake up again, 5:45, an hour travelling to work. I'd go to the gym for an hour, and then I'd be in work by 8:30, which meant that I was there before almost everyone else in my intake. I had a good kind of peace of mind. You know the feeling that you get after the gym. You kind of feel calm. You don't feel like you're jittery or anything like that. I was loose because, as we all know, we stretch, we feel good.
Damn right.
And it was a great way to start the day. And it just gave me an additional way of kind of exploring myself, exploring my potential, and starting to learn how to do free weights, to deadlift, to squat. All of these things by yourself is really a fantastic challenge, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And the gym is something that I've had an on and off relationship with since. But I'd say in the last year and 3-4 months, after going through quite a difficult relationship, using the gym again as an outlet for safe spaces and for growth, it really propelled me to get back into the gym consistently and to get to a point where I was just going, and now here we are, all three of us, rolling, taking in the protein, the creatine, researching,
gains, baby,
getting involved in gym talk and doing all of this and setting challenges. There was a point last year where myself and Jed did 2,000 push-ups in a day, and we would just update each other with, I did 50 just now, and then I'd be like, now I need to do 50 more. And Jed was leaning for the whole day, but thankfully I had a little bit of a break, which gave me some time to go. So I got to go to the shop, so I was like, I need to do 100 before he gets back. And that sort of stuff creates fun in a different way. It's a new way to explore with friends. We all have our different goals, and it's so exciting when I hear you guys hit certain goals and when I hit certain goals.
I agree. And that thing that you spoke about, learning how to use weights, how to squat, how to deadlift. You're teaching yourself things all over again, right?
Your
brain is working in a different way. You're not just getting something in your body, you're getting something in your brain. And it is pivotal that we challenge ourselves. When we have things at work, when we have set things at work that just need to be done, to have a world outside that, which you are sparking new ideas, firing serotonin through your brain, trying to create new goals and smash those goals. It's a fantastic feeling.
The gym is a great testing lab. I'm sure we've all experienced plateauing. You get to a point where you're benching or you're squatting and you hit a point where you're like, oh, I can't do anymore, my body can't do anymore. And then you have to go away. You're either determined to do it or you lose it. And all of us and all of our listeners at home, I believe in you, you're also determined to do it. So you have to go in and do research. How can I help this? Fabian talked about accessory lifts earlier. Let me do this Bulgarian split squat or Romanian deadlift. Something to really push my body in a way that I've never pushed it before so I can make myself greater. And that, again, is something you can apply everywhere.
And it's the same thing you're talking about there. It's not even like stay in your own lane, but believe in yourself and believe in, like I said, again, the process. Now, when we talk about before lockdown, I wasn't really in the gym. Like when I say before lockdown, I mean if you go post or pre 2019, that's when I started coming on a downfall to the gym. Then we went into lockdown, gyms closed, and I was just like, forget about it.
Yeah, for real.
Forget about it. And what happened is I got a good bit of time off Christmas time just before we ended for the new year.
Yes.
And I said to myself, I said, you know what? I'm coming back. I said, let me do this. Let me do this. And there was people in my gym that saw me fail on 3 and a 15. So that's 170 kilo, right? In my gym, they was like, ooh, he ain't got that. Right now, I'm pushing that for 4 or 5 reps.
Ooh.
And now people are saying like, what's going on? And they're thinking it's a whole thing of like, oh, it's happened in 2 months. But if I go pre 2019, like 2018 and early part of 2019, I was lifting that. I might not be lifting it for the way I'm lifting it, but it's the work I put in those 2 months is where I stuck to a weight and I said, I'm going to lift this comfortably. I want to lift this comfortably for reps, then I'm going to go up. And I did that week after week. And those 3-4 weeks that we went into the new year now, it's like, now I'm ready. And this is when, like I say to a couple of my gym mates now, I said, like, I'm ready to go this time. I said, I always fall off or I'm not consistent in it for a whole year. I've been away for 3 years. It's time for me to push this body to the max.
Yes, sir.
So right now, I'm loving the gym. It's crazy. I love everyone in my gym because the banter we have, like I always say this all the time, I just want the camera in the corner because the amount of rubbish that gets talked in that gym is ridiculous.
What, new Fabian YouTube?
I mean, gyms? I keep trying to put some stuff out there, but you know, it's like when my gym partner's 53 and he's going crazy things, I think like, why not? So
yeah, do it.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think the gym is a space where you can be yourself or you can be a new person, and you can create that identity. Right? You decide who you want to be in that gym. You decide what approach you want to have. And it clearly means a lot to us. Ethan, was there any last points you wanted to make on that? You've covered it pretty well, to be honest.
Shout out to gyms, keep me out of trouble as well.
Shout out to the gym. Whatever you do, if you can, try and work your body in the same way that you potentially try to work your mind. Try to expand and grow and learn new things, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Try to set goals, try to break those goals, try to constantly learn and grow.
Yeah, that's it. And it's not even a case of like, when he said like, challenge your body, like, go into the gym, it doesn't have to start there. I said to a friend today, I said, they always said they're having headaches or their belly's hurting. I said, take in more vitamins and minerals. I said, you don't eat a lot as it is during the day, but you're not eating anything essential. I said, maybe just that one more essential thing might make you feel a little bit better. And then once you start doing things like that, that might give you the energy or push you to say, all right, I'll go to the gym and do something.
Exactly. Any last words?
Last words? We believe in you.
We believe in you. Where can they find us, Ethan?
MM Talks, Spotify, Apple Music, all of your favourite podcasting platforms. Motivational Moments LDN for London, at Instagram and TikTok. Go reward yourself.